Robinson is very proud to cut us this luncheon with our friends from Roosevelt Insurance, Chaz Madania, and the entire Madania family. I'd like to extend a special welcome to all of the city officials and the representatives from the various chambers of commerce here. Today, it's really great to add you or have you as part of this luncheon. I read the Record-Courier this morning, and it would appear based on recent research that this is the 99th game in this rivalry, so hopefully we'll have that settled once and for all. I know there's been a question about that in the past. Certainly best of luck. And Coach Nimick, were you at that first game? No. Oh, okay. A special welcome to Coach Tom Campaign also. Tom, great to be here. Tom just celebrated a pretty significant birthday, 90. So. I told him if I was going to live that long, I would take better care of myself. Best of luck to Coach Nimick and Coach Lenardi and your team.
If I could have the mayors up here for 1 minute, please. You probably saw their picture in the paper today. They made a wager on this game. Like people that take their vows all over again, we're going to have them reconfirm the wager in front of everybody.
You're the host city, Joe. I don't want to tell you what to do, but you ought to say something in there.
Well, Jerry, I think that once you lose this match, you can come to Ravenna and pay me back. How's that?
I don't know if I'll live that long. Anyhow, this is our 4th year doing this, and we've had a lot of fun. And no matter what we do, we want to bring the communities together at this event. But we don't ever want to take away the professionalism of the athletes in that field on both sides. And we're supportive of both teams. And our bet is a small bet. It's like $25. It's significant of what it is, but it will go back to the scholarship funds of one of the schools. So that's what our bet's about.
I think one of the things that I did want to mention is that Kent and Ravenna have always had a rivalry, but we have a great working relationship between the two cities. And it's important that we support each other and that we're here for the students. It's a great time for them in their lives, and this is a great game, and we're all excited about it. So thank you very much.
If you notice the picture in the paper, this is our 4th picture, and Laura Winhoff, the director from the Chamber of Kent, and Jack, the Chamber director from Ravenna, and I always come in our football memorabilia, or whatever you want to say, outfit, and Joe always ends up in his 3-piece suit. Next year will be the 5th year. We'll try and get them on board.
Some of us are actually working there.
As we mentioned a couple times, Friday is the 99th all-time meeting between the two schools. And Record-Courier, with the help of a local historian named John Reidinger, we've uncovered some scores that have been considered lost over the last few years to determine that Friday's game will be the 99th game all time. Those scores are included on your tables today, dating back to 1911, and the teams have played against each other for every single year dating back to 1990. You'll see that there's a couple of years there that they decided not to play against each other for scheduling reasons. Also on the tables, you'll find a packet that we put together. This rivalry is one that has included many, many influential people, not only in football but in life. And we decided to take a look at 4 newspaper articles that had published previously in the Record-Courier that included 2 coaches from Kent Roosevelt and 2 coaches from Ravenna, who have had a big part of what this rivalry was, is, and will be in the future as well. So those packets and the scores are things that you're welcome to take home with you today. We put a few of them on there, so if there's more people that want them that are on the table, just let me know and we'll make sure you get one to take home with you. The packets, they're nothing too flashy or extravagant, but I think if anyone knows the coaches that are included in there, you'll know that those coaches aren't coaches that did things the flashy way. And we try to just kind of fall in line with that. So next year is game number 100, and oftentimes in sports we hear coach speak all the time, one game at a time, worry about the next opponent. But I can tell you at the Record-Courier, there's no coach speak. We're looking forward to Friday's 99th game, but we're also already planning big things for the 100th game for next year and planning our coverage already. So thanks a lot, and best of luck to the two teams on Friday.
Dave Brobeck, who is our speaker. At that time, he was assistant football coach at Kent Roosevelt. Now, this is the Saturday morning game, the JV game. We're over at Kent Roosevelt. We're all standing there. We're just kind of talking to each other while the kids are playing the game and the coaches are coaching the game. And Dave saw something. Now, the game was close. Dave saw something. He went down to the JV coaches and told them about it. The next play, Kent scores a touchdown on that play. He came back and said, "You're not allowed to do that. You are not allowed to do that. We don't have anybody on our side that's going to be doing that this morning, so that shouldn't count." But it did. I don't remember whether we won the game or not, but I do remember that specific incident.
I've been into the 30s now of kids. I'm coaching their children. And it's, I think if I had to pick a highlight of my coaching career, that would be it. It really means a lot to me. I want you guys to know that, have an opportunity to work with your sons. It's real special. Thank you. I also want to say that the cheerleaders and band members and football players from both Kent and Ravenna, you're doing something special, guys and girls. The extracurricular activities that you work so hard in are things that will help you develop as a citizen in this country. And I think it sets you apart from kids that don't do it. I think it makes you special because of the time you spend, the commitment you make. And that'll all pay off sometimes. And it might not be in the score of a game, but it will someday in your life, in your future careers, because you're going to face challenges, and when those challenges come, you'll know what it's about to take them on. So I congratulate all of you kids for what you do. I want to introduce our 11 representatives, kids that I'm very proud of. We're fortunate to have a great senior class, and I don't have time to go into individual accolades for these kids, but I will say this. There are a number of them sitting at that table who will go to Ivy League schools or into service academies, and I'm very proud of that, as I know, Jim, you are. We talked about the young Wilmington boy. Your boy's at Lehigh, isn't that right, Officer Wilmington?
That's correct.
Yeah, and that's a wonderful school, and it's just an example. A lot of times, you know, the athletes are looked down upon, but these kids have achieved academically, and I know it makes Jim and I very proud.
I got to get something out here. Today, this is really three parts. One is humor makes you smarter, mindset sets you free, and tradition never graduates. And I'll hang that up there. My daughter, Sarah, attended the Kent schools until 5th grade when we moved to Salem, and she was a Division I athlete at Wake Forest University. And that's what they gave to the athletes and the parents when she left. So, I'm going to push your comfort zone a little bit because I'm going to do some things that are based on brain research, but you kind of like this. Okay, I like that. You can say it. I like that. Go ahead. Okay, good. So the first thing I'm going to ask you, if you are not a fun person, I'd like you to sit on your hands, because I don't want any non-fun people to raise their hands. That's a bad sign. So the second thing is, everything is positive. And we know from the brain research that humor actually makes the people who laugh are smarter, have higher IQ points, and remember more. So if you're a funny guy, you know, you could end up with a PhD someday. Who knows? So if you are fun, I'd just like to say, "Oh yeah." Let's try that. Oh yeah. And I want you to say, "I'm fun." I'm fun. I want you to look at somebody and say, "You fun too." So if you start laughing, we're going to work on that a little bit. So there'll be some audience feedback, because that is what brain science is all about. It has to do something in the center of your brain called the limbic system, and hopefully that's what football players use. It's how we get to love the game. And if we're doing something positive and we love a game, we can play better. And Mr. B, I do want to tell you that I remember that incident. I think the problem was I noticed the JV coach's zipper was down, and it went down, I corrected. There's no way that I did anything to break our trust or friendship. Now, before I go any further, I have to make a confession. I just found out that Mr. Crosby and I went to the same high school, and he probably could check background, but I was a very poor high school student. I needed motivation, and my mother arranged for me to get a job. My first job, I cleaned septic tanks. For those of you who don't know what a septic tank is, I sucked up raw sewage with a big hose. And I'm going to tell you something, there's no job that can prepare you to learn and get an education better than being a septic tank cleaner. So if parents, if you have a child who's not studying, I would suggest that you move them into some sort of septic tank cleaning system. Another thing, if you played or coached in the game between 1975 and 1996, just raise your hand for me. So I just want to get an idea, some people, didn't you recover a fumble against us and take it back? Did that happen? I remember you. I remember you were sort of a mean guy. That's what I remember. He put that goatee and he looks mean today. So I have to be careful. If I say anything to offend anybody, like during my 21 years, we were 15 and 6, no intent to do that. I had a chance between JV coaching, middle school coaching, and high school to coach in 34 of these games. And you get to play on Friday in something that is just magical. You know, I teach at Wallstead Stark County. Everyone wants to talk about Massillon and Kinley. But there's a difference, and I'll get to that a little bit. And it had to do with some things that Coach Dietrich was talking about earlier about the communities.